When I moved into Hayden's house, it already had his name on the title. He bought it 2 years before we met. A narrow weatherboard place with a sagging fence and a backyard that was more dirt than lawn. "It's not much," he'd said on our third date, almost apologetically. I loved it. Not for what it was, but for what it could be. By the time I moved in, we'd been together 18 months. My lease was up. It made sense financially. "I'll contribute," I told him. "Mortgage, utilities, whatever's fair. I want to build this with you." He smiled at that. He said, "We're building something together." That word, together, is powerful. The first renovation was small. We ripped out the old carpet and sanded the floors ourselves. I learned how to use a belt sander that weekend. My arms shook for days. But when we stepped back and saw the natural wood glow under fresh sealant, we grinned like we'd won something. After that, it snowballed. The kitchen was next. "It'll add value," he said, pulling up renovation shows like they were blueprints for our future. I handled the contractor quotes. I designed the layout. I researched cabinetry. I spent nights comparing tapware finishes and appliance reviews. Hayden liked to say, "We're a good team." But what he meant was, I was good at managing chaos. After the kitchen, then the bathroom, then landscaping. I drained most of my savings into that house, not recklessly, strategically. We split renovation costs evenly. I kept spreadsheets. I negotiated contractor prices down. Every improvement increased the value. Every improvement deepened my belief that this was ours. 2 years in, I brought up putting my name on the title. Not dramatically, not suspiciously, just practically. If something ever happened, I said lightly, it would make sense legally. He didn't look angry. He looked confused. "Why would something happen?" he asked. "I don't know. Life," I replied. He sighed softly. "It's just paperwork. We're basically married without the ceremony." I smiled. But I tried again a few months later. "Maybe we should talk to a lawyer," I said, "just to formalize things." That's when his tone shifted, still calm but firmer. "I bought this place before you. It's an asset. It's not about trust. It's about protecting what I worked for," he said. What I worked for, as if I hadn't spent 2 years working on it too. He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Don't make this weird," so I didn't. I let it go. Around that same time, my friend Mia started a property staging and design business. Small at first, just her and a rented storage unit of furniture. "You're amazing at coordinating," she told me. "If you ever want in, I'd love a partner." I invested a modest amount, nothing reckless. We drew up a proper contract, ownership percentages, roles, exit clauses. Hayden laughed when I told him. "Staging furniture," he said. "That's not exactly scalable." "It's structured," I replied. "And it's written." He shrugged. "As long as you're not throwing serious money at it." Serious money, that phrase stayed with me. The breakup came quietly. He sat me down at the kitchen island, the one I had designed, and said, "I don't see this long term." I remember looking around the room I had planned down to the drawer handles. "I felt it for a while," he added. A while. I thought about the bathroom tiles we'd chosen 6 months earlier, the fruit trees we planted in spring, the fence we replaced together in January. "You've been feeling it," I repeated. He nodded, and then, almost kindly, he said, "I'll give you time to find somewhere." I remember staring at him, the man I had built a life beside. It was never ours. It was always his. 6 weeks later, I moved out. Legally, I had no claim to the house. My financial contributions were shared expenses. My labor was support. The asset was his. I left with my clothes, my car, and the small share certificate from Mia's company, the one Hayden had dismissed as cute. Interest rates rose sharply a few months later. Hayden had to refinance a loan. The repayments doubled. Maintenance costs stacked up. The deck we'd built needed resealing. The landscaped garden required constant upkeep. The contractor I used to supervise had cut corners in places Hayden never noticed. I heard through mutual friends that he was stressed. Meanwhile, I had time again. Time I hadn't had in years. I poured it into Mia's business. We rewrote our agreement. I streamlined her systems, negotiated supplier contracts, built relationships with real estate agencies, designed package tiers, managed scheduling software. We weren't just staging homes, we were selling lifestyle. Within a year, we had a warehouse, and I had quit my day job. Within 18 months, we were servicing 3 major agencies. Within 2 years, we expanded into 2 neighboring cities. Property slowed, but staging became more important in a tight market. Sellers needed competitive edges. Our bookings doubled. Because I had ownership, legally documented ownership, my share grew with it. Real numbers, real dividends. Hayden eventually listed the house. The market had cooled significantly. Buyers were cautious. Inspection reports flagged minor issues that, in a hot market, might have been ignored. He sold for less than he'd expected. After fees and refinancing costs, his protected asset hadn't grown nearly as much as he'd projected. One afternoon, I ran into him at a cafe. He looked tired. "How have you been?" he asked. "Busy," I said honestly. "With the staging thing?" "Yeah," he nodded slowly. "Didn't realize that would take off." I almost smiled. "It was structured," I said, "and it was written." He didn't respond to that. Here's the thing about paperwork. It's not romantic, it's not emotional, it's not dramatic. But it tells the truth about who is building what. Hayden protected the house. I protected my future. And the investment he once called small is now worth more than the half-value increase I would have received from his property. Sometimes karma isn't loud. Sometimes it's compound growth. And sometimes the thing someone laughs at is the thing that outlasts them.